Hello and welcome back to Arise and Learn English. Today, I want to tell you a story. It is not just any story. It is the story of how I trained my brain to think in English. Yes, you heard that right. I went from translating every single word in my head to actually thinking, dreaming, and living in English. This powerful change transformed my life forever. When I first started learning English, I struggled a lot. Maybe you feel the same way. Every time I wanted to say something, my brain worked like a slow machine. First, I thought in my native language. Then I tried to translate each word into English. Then I worried if the grammar was correct. And by the time I opened my mouth, the conversation had already moved on. It was so frustrating. I remember one moment very clearly. I was in a cafe, and a tourist asked me in English, "Can I sit here?" My brain immediately started translating. "Can I sit here?" I understood, but when I tried to answer, it was too late. I just smiled awkwardly. The tourist sat down, and I felt embarrassed. At that moment, I realized something important. If I wanted to use English naturally, I had to stop translating. I had to train my brain to think directly in English. So how did I do it? Let me tell you my story. At first, I started very small. Every morning when I woke up, I looked around my room and described things in English. I said, "This is my bed. These are my shoes. I am opening the window." At first it felt strange, almost like I was forcing my brain, but slowly it became a habit. My brain started connecting objects and actions directly to English words without translation. Later, I used a special technique I call English moments. Whenever I had free time, on the bus, walking to school, waiting in line, I started talking to myself in English in my head. For example, if I was going to the market, I thought, "I will buy some bread. I need vegetables. I will pay with cash." I made it simple, but I repeated it every day. Slowly, my brain got used to creating sentences in English without translating. Another powerful step was listening. I listened to English podcasts, YouTube videos, and audiobooks every single day. In the beginning, I didn't understand everything, sometimes only 30%. But I kept listening. Over time, I noticed something magical. Phrases started sticking in my brain. For example, instead of translating, "How are you?" word by word, my brain just understood it instantly as a whole idea. That was the moment I realized. My brain was beginning to think in English. But it wasn't always easy. There were times when I felt tired, times when I thought I would never improve. I remember one night after a long day of practice, I looked in the mirror and said in English, "Why is this so hard? Maybe I'm not good enough." But then I remembered something important. Training the brain is like training a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger it becomes. I told myself, be patient. Keep going. One day, I was chatting with an online friend. We were talking in English, and suddenly I realized I was not translating anymore. The words came naturally. The ideas flowed directly in English. I even made a joke, and my friend laughed. That was one of the happiest moments in my English journey. From that day, I kept building this skill. I read simple English stories every night, and I imagined the scenes in my head in English. I wrote short diaries in English, and when I couldn't find a word, I used simpler English to explain my idea. I started dreaming in English too. At first, just a few words, then whole conversations. That's when I knew. My brain had switched to English mode. Thinking in English changed everything for me. I could speak faster, listen better, and feel more confident. I no longer felt like an outsider in conversations. I could enjoy movies without subtitles. I could write emails naturally. Most importantly, I felt free. Free from the chains of translation. Free to express myself in another language. And here's the truth. You can train your brain too. It doesn't matter where you start. What matters is that you practice every day. Start with small steps. Describe your room in English. Talk to yourself in English when you're walking or cooking. Listen to English daily, even if you don't. Understand everything. Write simple sentences in a diary. And most importantly, don't be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes are not failures. Mistakes are proof that your brain is learning. Today, when I look back, I see how far I've come. I started as someone who could not answer a simple question in a cafe. Now I think, dream, and live in English. And if I could do it, you can too. So, my friend, train your brain. Feed it English every day. Make English a natural part of your life. Step by step, your brain will adapt. One day, without even noticing, you will realize you are thinking in English. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it inspired you to keep going on your English journey. If you enjoyed this video and want more stories and lessons to improve your English fluency, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Arise and Learn English. Until next time, keep practicing, keep believing, and keep training your brain to think in English.